Okay, everyone, welcome again to the Love Fruit podcast. We've got another legendary guest today, someone who's well known in the online vegan, raw vegan, fruit loving community around the world. Controversial character to some, hero to others, villain in other people's eyes. Someone that's always been the pain in the neck of the whole paleo carnivore movement as that evolves. Harley Johnstone, also known as Durianrider. And I've probably said this to you, Harley, like you were one of my first mentors getting into this many years ago. And I'd be interested to talk about this because when I started to get into even just veganism and I pretty much got into vegan and the whole raw food fruitarian thing about the same time. And it seemed at that time that when I look back, like who I was finding on YouTube at that time when I was looking for just even vegan information was guys like you, Tim Van Orden, Michael Arnstein. Like it seemed like I was just finding all these kind of people that were into the raw thing as well or into the fruit thing at the same time. And at that time, I don't even remember that many vegan YouTubers that I was coming across that weren't like inspired by you or like weren't somehow involved in raw food as well. What was your kind of memory of that time and you kind of blowing up on YouTube and everything?
Yeah, I remember just thinking, I had in 2006. First of all, thanks for having me on, Ronnie. Appreciate your time. Love these podcasts and videos. Ask me any questions you want. Nothing's too controversial, personal, whatever. Ask me anything.
Sure.
But yeah, 2006, I was in Thailand, and a friend of mine, Kelly, she was like, Harley, and you got to get in this YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, YouTube, like, what is that? And she went to show me. We were in this internet cafe, and we just had this durian meal. It was late at night, and she was there in the bikini top and stuff, and she's showing me YouTube, and she went to click on it, and it was banned in Thailand because someone uploaded a YouTube video against the Thai government, etc., the monarchy. And so Thailand shut down YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, oh, how good is YouTube? It's not even in Thailand. I just sort of brushed off. And Kelly's like, no, Harley, you got to do this. You got to do this. And I'm like, eh. And I just didn't really understand what she was trying to tell me. But
yeah.
I appreciate that she believed in me and wanted me to use a great platform. And then in 2008, I got onto the YouTube platform, and when I finally worked out how to upload a video. I mean, Freely was also saying, get onto YouTube. You do great at that. And then 2008 went from there. But it was, I didn't really understand the power of YouTube back then. I didn't understand the power of social media like I do today. So
Right.
Pioneer of the vegan YouTube community, some people will say, because I was the person first out there really cranking out the videos, the what I eat in a day videos and the vlogs and helping people understand, eating fruit and carbohydrates and riding bikes and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and the thing that I saw, Harley, that like I guess I've not spoken a lot about this kind of thing, but what I remember, and I don't know why I want to get into this, but I just thought it just came into my mind. Like I remember, I remember going to Woodstock maybe the second time I went, and you were there. I think Freely was there as well, 2014 maybe, or it might be 13.
No, it would have been 13.
13, yeah. And I just remember the amount of people thinking back that were there. I felt there was people there to try and build a YouTube channel, and they were interviewing you, following you around, following Freely around. They did multiple videos with you, built their channel based on the back of that, as far as I could see. And then a couple of years later, a lot of those people turned on you. And I just thought, I just saw that happen. I'm like, how could they all do that? Like, I mean, like I can see it from everyone's perspective, but for me, I just thought, even if you don't like the guy, you've got to at least admit that you used his following and everything to start off, So I saw that, and I didn't really. How did that feel? I guess that wasn't very,
That's just human nature,
Sure.
I mean, I sort of brought that upon myself. I was making so much money and just flashing it, and so when you do that, you're attracting people who want quick, easy money, who aren't really genuine. They just genuinely want money, and they want it quick and they want it now, so they'll do anything for the cash. And so I attracted an army of those sort of people around who didn't really care about the movement, didn't care about other people, just wanted money, quick, easy money. And so when they got an opportunity to try and throw me under the bus, they all rallied up, and back in 2017, they all conspired together to upload a series of wire cut tires and Durianrider videos in 2017 to try and push me down. And all it did was just push apart the community and just expose who's only there for the money.
That's
So
right.
it was, they're not passionate people, and passionate about money. That's about it. What would be great is if we took out all the money and then we'd see who's left.
Yeah, and that's kind of ironic, because I think one of the things that I remember first getting into your videos and stuff, and also meeting you at Woodstock and all that kind of thing, was it did seem like you didn't have an agenda that was anything connected to money. I know you wanted to get the message out there, and I guess you're making money on YouTube, whatever, but it seemed like you were basically one of the things people liked about you was you were kind of exposing the fact that the raw vegan thing, and maybe even veganism, was being used for selling products that people didn't really need. These different supplements and powders and protein powders, whatever it was. How did that? But I'm guessing that from your background, how did you get into all this in terms of veganism, raw food, and all that? I'm guessing at some point you might have even bought some of those things yourself, or maybe everyone goes through a stage of learning, I guess. But
yeah,
let's go back. How did you get into even changing your diet to vegan diet? Where did that?
Yeah. Well, I've always been into health and performance. I was always a sick kid in school. My mum had a lot of health food books on her bookshelf. She had a book by Leslie Kenton called Raw Energy. I remember flicking through that back in 1986, maybe, just flicking through.
My mum had that book as well. That's crazy. Yeah.
There you go. So how old are you, Ronnie?
I'm 35, 34.
Okay,
35.
Yeah. I'm 43 in a couple of months. So yeah, we're similar sort of generation. So mum had that book on a bookshelf, and my mum was into health, she's into weight loss, like most women are.
Sure.
And so I was exposed to it, but at a sort of a low level. And then when I started getting more health issues as a cyclist, trying to increase my performance, getting a lot of asthma and fatigue, and just feel a frustration, I started looking more into my nutrition, and I met this guy who told me to go vegetarian. And so I went vegetarian for a week and instantly felt better on my lungs and my performance. My VO2 max went up. I could just feel that. And then so why am I still having dairy? And then I thought, well, I'll just flick off the dairy. Dairy's a pretty cool industry. I don't need it. And then I stopped having dairy. And the next day I felt even better, with the breathing. I was like, okay, there's something, and I felt so good. I was just living on pure carbs back then, rice, sugar, fruit. And I just felt so, angelic on the bike. I just felt like, oh my God, like I've been lying to you for so long.
Yeah.
And this is back before social media was around. You gonna shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. And I was just like, cranking. And then I got into raw food in 2002. I found a book called Raw Life by Paul Nisson, and I got that book and read that book, and it made a lot of sense as well, because Paul put a lot of good arguments out there that cooked food's not so good, and it was great. And then in that book there was a lot of space cadets talking about breatharianism and stuff like that, and I was like, come on, this is and I got to, as an athlete, you understand that breatharianism, etc., is just nonsense. But I can understand that some of these narcissists, sociopaths, are really good at talking and communicating really well. So if you're into fairy tales and stories, then you'll start to believe that what they're saying is true if you don't understand human physiology. And then in that book was Doug Graham. And Doug Graham, he stood out by far, being into sport. And I really gravitated towards Doug because, he was also an athlete, and what he was saying just made sense. Get your carbs in, carbs. And like, well, that's what I'm doing now, but with fruit. Okay. So I tried that and also felt better. The only issue was always being able to find, good quality fruit where you get enough calories. So
Sure.
And Doug back then Doug, credit where credit's due. Doug was a huge inspiration for increased fruit intake. And at that time, I'd read the book called Fit for Life by Harvey Diamond. I learned about fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and then starches for dinner. So essentially raw till 4. And so I was doing that. And that was what I've come back to. But the fruit thing, I think 100% fruit appealed to me as like back in my 20s, back in the day there, as a bit of a challenge of like, a bit of rebellion against society. Cooked food's poison. It's, it's the establishment and all this. And and it's partly true. And so yeah, I had some challenges there, but it was great. It was a really good time. And then I went to see Doug Graham at his Health and Fitness Week 2006. Met Christina there, Fully Raw Christina, helped her get her YouTube channel going. Met a guy called Robbie Barbaro, and yeah, had a great experience, and had some really good times at Doug's events, and we eventually had a bit of falling out over money and stuff like that, and social media.
That's quite, yeah, that's quite a little group. If you think about that, that's quite a little group there. Fully Raw Christina, yourself, Robbie, all of you, I guess, weren't really doing much at that point online, and all of you, like, I mean, Robbie recently is coming out with this book, seems to be that's blowing up, and pretty amazing. So Doug really did have quite a pretty good influence. I don't know exactly what he was doing at those events or how if he inspired you guys in any way, but that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was. I guess Doug is also most of the time a very straight shooter, and he tells you what you need to hear. And so I just love when people don't bullshit when it comes to nutrition, just tell you straight up. There was some things I disagree with Doug. He had a book called Grain Damage, and he was saying that carbs make you, rice makes you overweight. I'm like, well, I'm in Thailand. It's not the case. But otherwise, the fruit thing does make sense for sure. And it was great, good times. I wish though that I wasn't trying to be 100% raw. I put 100% raw as this like goal, and then so we're like, eat heaps of nuts and stuff like that, and we all know what it feels like to eat too many nuts.
Right.
And so, yeah, I should have just focused on my performance,
right,
and versus focusing on this ideation of 100% raw, which doesn't increase your performance at all. In actual fact, I find eating 100% raw, I cannot perform as good as I can on raw till 4, or adding in some refined sugar to my fruit smoothies, etc., just for that glycogen restoration. But yeah, I'm still a huge fruit eater, and I'm a fruit junkie. I travel to places just for the fruit quality.
Sure. So before you got into like that side, like the 8-10-10 thing and everything, were you trying raw in another way? Were you ever trying like the superfoods and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, David Wolf is a mad charismatic narcissist dude. One of the best storytellers ever. A huge inspiration for a lot of people, including myself back then. That dude is like finesse on feet. Like he is a smooth salesman, man, and he's a funny dude. And I hung out with him a few times in California there at the at these raw food expos and health food expos, and just watched how he worked. And
you went out there. You went out in California, yeah?
Yeah, I was in California. I cycled from Cedro Woolley in Washington down to Escondido in Southern California there, my Trek OCLV US Postal bike, camping out and just sleeping on the side of the road and meeting fellow vegans and stuff and camping with them.
Nice.
It was a great time. It was 3 months from September 2006 to November 2006. And so, yeah, Dave Wolf, I used to listen to Dave Wolf all the time on his podcasts and stuff, and a little 1 gig MP3 player, and I'd play it again and again. And Dave Wolf, he's a great speaker. He sort of incorporates a bit of Tony Robbins, positive mental attitude, and stuff like that. So I was very inspired by that. And Dave Wolf obviously sold out big time to the almighty dollar and started peddling some real dodgy stuff. And there's lots of crazy stories that came out of Dave Wolf. Dave Wolf's seen his friends getting busted for ecstasy dealing at JFK Airport. But yeah, but to take the good out of it, to give credit where credit's due, Dave Wolf, he was a great speaker, great presenter, apart from some dodgy behaviors, otherwise, putting out some positive content. But again, Dave Wolf was talking about how dates are bad and sugar's bad and fruit's bad. And
right,
you're just saying that to push your cacao agenda. But I bought a few. I think everybody bought chocolate from Dave Wolf back then. David Wolf could sell chocolate to anyone. He could sell chocolate to Caribou. He was a master salesman. But after having cacao, the next day having that fatigue, the adrenal exhaustion, it's just like you're like, this isn't health food. This is a drug. This is a definitely strong drug.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I guess one of the things that kind of got your YouTube channel going maybe was the fact that you were calling out these different characters in the raw food scene. I think,
Yeah.
am I right in thinking in fact, one of the first videos for you that went viral was about a Jonas Planets or something like that? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I did a video as well. Why is Dave Wolf overweight? And that got a lot of traction.
Yeah, that's the one that's how I found you, was that video.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. And I was like, wow, why are people so worried about if people are fat? Because people would ask me, why is Dave Wolf overweight? And I'm like, oh, he just eats a lot of fat, As a lot of fat. And so I wasn't really trying to be a diss. At that point, though, what Dave Wolf was doing by dissing fruit, dissing carbohydrates, I'm like, well, I got quite irritated by that, because if you're dissing carbohydrates, then people aren't going to succeed in a vegan lifestyle. They'll buy your product, but they'll be like, oh, no, I tried vegan, spent a lot of money, made me feel like junk.
Sure.
And so anyone who's knocking carbs, even though I looked up to them or having been inspired by them in the past, Dave Wolf or Doug, when I hear them knocking carbohydrates, I was just be like, come on, man, like, this is nonsense. What are you doing? What are you doing? And yeah, Ajahn Planets, that dude was a total fruitcake, ended up dying from a heart attack in Thailand. Then he was working on a roof, had the heart attack, fell off, and passed away. So he was another great storyteller as well. But yeah, Ajahn Planets, not even his real name, but no one knows what his real name was.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the whole whatever alternative health world have had different names and made up names and stuff, it seems. You mentioned briefly breatharianism, and something that's another thing that I think I really only came across that because you would speak about it back in the day, and I'm kind of surprised that still gets a lot of attention. There's still a lot of people that want to believe that, and it really concerns me. It really concerns me that people still want that to be real, and now it's called like pranic living or something like that. Have you seen? Do you still see people as well that ask you about that, or?
I think I'm probably known in that circle I'm totally against it. But yeah, it attracts the same fruitcakes that they hide their real name. A lot of them. It's okay to use an alias. I use alias Durianrider. Everyone knows me. I'm Harley Johnstone. There's no hiding that. But yeah, it seems to attract these people from shady pasts, and it's just quick money. It's quick money. If you're promoting something that's going to attract some people with some mental health issues, breatharianism, like to believe that you can live without food is an ultimate fairy tale. But to really want to do that, in my opinion, that's some mental health going on right there. Or it will cause mental health, because you'll starve your brain of glucose, and then you start to go into this like la-la land where you never had any schizophrenic, behavior before, but you'll develop that. You put anyone on breatharianism, and they will become schizophrenic, because your brain just goes into like la-la land. And I think it's because the body, nature's very kind to us in that when you're starved, it's almost pleasurable. It's almost pleasurable. Like I've done fasting out in the forest by myself, and you're in this like almost semi-ecstasy, drug state. Right. It's pleasurable. Once you get past the cravings, the body's like, give me some food. When it knows the food's not coming, you're sort of like, in and out of like hunger and just ecstasy. And so that can be confused as health. Yeah. It's really just your cortisol and your endorphins just making your death peaceful. It's making, okay, you've not got no food, we're just going to let you check off the planet. Same with adrenaline. Like if a tiger gets you, it doesn't hurt, because you've got so much adrenaline in your body, you don't feel it. You don't feel the teeth going into your neck.
That's really interesting, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are chasing that high, either, constantly doing fasting. I think that I get the feeling that dry fasting probably gives people a high like that, some kind of, and as you're saying, probably from adrenaline or the body just freaking out and saying like, go out and get something to eat. Like, what are you doing,
It is 100%. And you get that in the bicycle. I learned that early. Before you run out of glycogen, muscle glycogen, you get this spike of adrenaline. You feel like God. You feel like, you're just destroying it on the bike. You're smashing through walls right before you bonk. If you time that perfectly, like 1 or 2 Ks before the finish, you'll have this surge and you'll win the sprint or smash the climb. But if you don't time it right, you get the surge and then bang, you hit
Right.
ketosis and you're out the door. And I've seen this in the Tour de France. I've seen it, many, many times where the rider will have this like, super manic Superman feeling and then just totally blow up. We saw it recently with this famous runner, Joseph Cheptegei. He's a Ugandan. He set the world record recently for 5 and 10K road. And in the 2017 World Champs, he just attacks in the running races, cross country, about 34-minute run. And he just breaks away from the pack. And that was his surge. But he timed it bad, and then he ran out of carbs, went into ketosis, and finished like 2 minutes back. Got past for everyone.
Right.
So that was a perfect example. But he would have felt like total Superman during that. And so the average puncher out there who gets that Superman surge goes, "Wow, this is health. This is," and then they keep chasing that, but it's just adrenaline. It's just surviving, kicking in.
That's amazing. That is absolute, like, because I've always thought about that. Like, why are people so attracted to these states and feeling these highs, and and that's that classic thing of people saying the less I eat, the better I feel. Sometimes people say stuff like that. Totally makes sense from what you're saying.
Yeah. You'll feel better for a little bit, but your performance will eventually suck, and your mood will suck, and you'll be like, an hour later, 2 hours later, you'll be all emotional and crying, and then I'm just detoxing emotions from when I was a kid and I got abused. It's like, no, you're just really hungry, and your adrenaline and cortisol is all over the shop.
Yeah,
your thyroid's taking a beating.
Yeah, so that's the advantage of you being an athlete. The same with Doug Graham. The advantage of that athletic background, understanding a bit more the performance of the body. Same with Michael Arnstein as well, talking about that with him earlier on, and just the idea that like you kind of probably know your body because you can track your performance level, that you can see the effect that certain things have on your body. Is that kind of right?
100%. And being a cyclist, especially as a cyclist, you can push yourself way harder as a runner. When you're a runner, you're limited by your leg conditioning.
Right.
But on my bike, I can go jump on my bike and ride 24 hours with no sleep, with no real training. But to run over an hour, your legs are going to get bashed up. So you never really go into your big reserves. But on the bike, it's low impact. You can go all day and night, literally.
Yeah.
I can cycle across Australia like I've done before. And so you learn really quickly the importance of carbohydrates and water. You learn that, and you understand adrenaline, you understand cortisol, the feelings you get when it's called bonking, like hitting the wall, aka running out of muscle glycogen. You understand that euphoria, and then the crash, where you're just struggling to 100 watts and you're getting passed by people who don't normally pass you, and you're feeling all dizzy, and you're feeling ecstasy a bit as well, but you can't do anything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a very interesting feeling. It's quite, it's definitely as pleasurable that you're totally weak and you're just craving something sweet and juicy, some fruit or a sports drink or some sugar water or whatever. And as soon as you have that bit of fruit, you're back in action again. As soon as you have those carbs, you're back in action.
Excellent. And so, I mean, you started obviously the website 30 Bananas a Day, which is kind of obviously still around, but it was really a legendary website. Back at that time, it was basically the online hub for people in the raw vegan movement, especially
and vegan.
And vegan.
I didn't start it. Freely created that day, and I said, because I still got no idea about how to do a website or whatever. I'm very literate when it comes to internet. But I said to Freely, I said, you start that website. She's better with tech than I am. I said, you start that, and I will make that the biggest vegan and raw food site ever. She's like, okay, whatever, and I did. And I was just like on it all the time, and it was great fun. It was great. It helped so many people unite, and it was just a massive hub. Unfortunately, when me and Freely parted ways, that I made some mistakes there, making her feel massively rejected. So she was like, anything that I valued, she was happy to see get crushed.
Right.
Which is understandable, being the feminine that she is, but at the expense of community. So that was, she took a power meter off me. She owes me money. She deleted me from the website. She's happy to see it die. Just about,
right.
Back at me. I'm like, hey, that's I understand that, and I don't take it personally. And I made some mistakes there, but let's not let the community suffer. And even when we split up, I said, I don't want to war with you. Like, let's keep our, we can scream at each other in private, but let's not go online. She's like, yeah, I understand that. And I was like pleading with like, really, do you really understand? It's really important. Like so many people look up to us as a couple, as like the power couple. If they see us fighting, you know, it'd be horrendous. And she's as headstrong as I am. So when she started hitting me online, I was hitting back, and then we hit each other into nonsense. So it was a big mistake for me throwing back. I should have just been silent and let it go, and eventually we just passed over. But me throwing back, Freddie's throwing back, it was the worst thing ever for both of us to do that. So live and learn.
Yeah, I mean, and that website, like, do you have any idea, like, how many people were visiting that website? You know, every day? Was that thousands of people? Do you have any idea?
It was nuts. Like it was, you know, it was really awesome how many people were going there. We were, you know, moving a lot of ebook sales there. It was, so that was a big one as well. Like how many units you're selling means people are excited. They're like passionate. They want to get into it. So we were, you know, definitely it was amazing. Like that was a cornerstone of our success, and also of the community as well, because it was just a hub. And I understand people want to meet like-minded people, you know, like especially if you're raw food or vegan. It's like, especially back then, it's like, where do you meet people? What if you're in, you know, Kansas City, and like, how do you network with? How do you find people? You know, so it's just great to be able to have people go, hey, I'm from Kansas City, or I'm in, you know, Newcastle, Australia. Anyone else out there? And just be able to people connect. So it was really, it was powerful.
Yeah, definitely, and kind of, you know, everyone was on that and everything, and you know, looking back to when I was on that, I don't think you were really selling anything on that at the time, and that's another funny thing. Is like you guys weren't really taking advantage of that, you know, the way that other people could have or would have if they'd been in that situation. Like you didn't. I don't think you even had a book. I think you might have had an audio or something on it, but I don't think you were heavily promoting anything.
We had our from 2014 onwards. I had my book on there. I think I did my first book in 2014. So so it was up for some 2000, and I think it was February 2009. We got it rolling. So yeah, for basically 4 or 5 years, I wasn't selling any product other than I think I had a $2 audio book on there, and we would sometimes sell Fred Patnard stuff. But yeah, otherwise, you know, it was a massively popular website that wasn't really selling anything. You know? And that wasn't the goal. The goal was just to create community.
Yeah.
So, because that's what drives still today. Like money is cool, but you know, I've made more money. I'm set for life with that, and I've learned that money's, you know, I've made some insane money, and it makes you feel like a bit of a buzz. Like, oh wow, you can buy fancy bikes and stuff, but that fades very, very quickly. And my currency now is definitely still contribution. It always was, always will be. That's where I get my buzz. You know, I can earn 10 grand a day. It's like, yeah, cool. But if I get to, you know, meet someone who's like been inspired, and you know, they lost weight, got their health better, they're on the bike, they get more performance or whatever. I get world tour pro riders messaging me, you know, like, Harley, can you keep our conversation secret? But I've been doing this, and man, my FTP is going up, and wow, I'm losing weight. I'm just recovering better. Yeah, the performance is the same, but I'm just recovering better and feeling better. Like, thanks a lot, but keep this hush, you know. So I get athletes and, you know, world-class level messaging me, or liking my content or whatever, or just the everyday mum who's got 5 kids, single mum, and lives in, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma or whatever, and just saying, you know, now I've got more energy, I don't want to kill myself. You know, thank you very much. I understand the importance of carbohydrate now.
Yeah,
so
great.
That's my currency. That's my payday, and that's what gets me out of bed in the morning, keeps me up late at night.
Yeah, and I want to kind of go back to how you built all that and how you got that attention. And I don't think it was by luck. And I mean, I've not been around you that much, but the times that I saw you, I saw you put a lot of work in on the computer doing different things. And I believe you've kind of been famous for all sorts of controversial tactics, like creating fake accounts and commenting on your own stuff. And I've always wondered, like, is that part of this? Were you creating multiple fake accounts in forums and then posting your own videos in those? Is that part of the thing you were doing back then?
Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, definitely. That was the tactic I was doing.
Because that takes a really, like, a different level of, like intelligence to do that, because how did you even manage like all these multiple accounts, all these multiple characters? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I just love it, man. I love getting the message out there, and I love just, because I feel so bad for all the people out there who will never hear the message, and
Right.
it pains me. When my dad, he passed away in February 2009, and that was a big motivation for me as well, to get the message out there, to give people an option. If you don't want to do it, like my dad didn't want to change his diet, he was happy to do radio and and chemo and all that stuff, and check off the planet within 6 weeks. He was happy to do that, and I accepted that. It was hard. I remember hugging him goodbye. I said, "This is the last time I ever see you. I accept your choices. I think you're doing it wrong, but it's your life. It's your choice." And I remember being on the plane, flying back to Adelaide, just thinking, man, like my dad he just blindly believes the oncologist.
Right.
He just blindly believes them. And I was like, man, like, where's the options? People don't have any options, And so I'm going to smash this word out there to try and reach the people who are looking for options. I understand that 99% of people out there would rather die than change their diet and lifestyle. I understand that at a core level now, but I want to reach that 1% of people out there who go, I want an option. And so, I was just like, how do I do this? Listening to a lot of Tony Robbins stuff is like, ask the right questions. I'm like, well, how do I do this? And seeing back then it was forums, And so using my own forum, 30 Bad, and then I'd get on like Mark Sisson's forum or any forum I could, and I'd use the handle Durianrider, and within a day I'd be deleted and banned because I was pushing the vegan agenda. And so I started going, back into the websites of those people and just using fake accounts, like Paleo Runner or whatever, just these random accounts. And like, hey, what is this Durianrider guy? Is this guy a clown or what? And I'd post my, pro carbohydrate message in the video, or before and after shots of bikinis, girls like freely or whatever. And it would get people thinking in the comments, get discussions going. So I did that every day, like 10 hours a day, all forums and all these different accounts, and just spamming it hardcore, just to get people thinking, give people the option.
That's the crazy work ethic that's kind of what I don't know. I kind of put that together in my own mind, that you were going on other people's forums with fake accounts and basically saying, look at this idiot Durianrider, what do you think of him? And then there was even there was a point where there was like a 30 bananas a day sucks website at the time, and it was like I think you were probably like the person most on that, with like all these different multiple characters as well. So
that was great. That was such an apprenticeship, and I wasn't making a single dollar. That was my YouTube account wasn't even monetized. That started in like 2011, 2012. So I was on all these forums just because I wanted to help people, to give them an option.
Harley, that's such a lesson, because what I've seen, what you've seen obviously, is people that come into the whatever movement, vegan, plant-based, raw food, whatever, and they get in it and they just want to get right to the top, and that's all they're about. It's like they just want to, like you've called it, social climbers or whatever, but you just see people that they're so motivated to just try and climb up to the top, and I don't exactly know why. I've seen that at Woodstock many times, because I've been to that event a lot. I see people coming in one year, they're the new to it, the next year they're like trying to give a talk, they're trying to run the thing, and then the next year they're no longer vegan, they're no longer raw, they're totally against it, and it's just like, what?
They're just using. Everybody wants significance. Everybody loves significance.
Right.
We love to feel significant. We love praise. And some people, narcissism. Everyone's narcissist to a degree, but if you're a high-level narcissist, you run on significance. You run on praise. So, in today's social media world, just to look at, oh, there's money there, there's praise there, I can go and jump into here, and that sort of attracts a lot of different types of people. And then the narcissists, the ones who generally do well, because they'll step on anyone. They'll friend anyone they can, and then step on them and stab them in the back just to get a one up on the social ladder. And so that's why, we attract that sort of level of people, and it's a tough one out there. But at the end of the day, time exposes all, and you see these people going ex-vegan. It's just like, you're never vegan to start with, really. If you really believe in vegan, you would find a way to succeed. You'd message me, or you'd be like, hey, Carl, you've been vegan athlete for 18 years. Like, how?
Yeah,
You know, I'm
right.
not even an athlete, and I can't do it. Like, what are you doing? And but these people were just using the vegan scene or the raw food scene just to make some money, a bit of fame, a bit of significance, a bit of narcissistic supply.
What do you think
To
caused that kind of ex-vegan thing? It seemed to happen last year, a whole bunch, like just one
just
after another.
just another trend. Just
Right.
another trend. Raw food is trend. Vegan's trending. High carbs trending. Freely's trending. Durianrider's trending. Such and such is trending. It's just trends people follow. It's like fashions or whatever. People just a sunglass design. People are buzzing on that for a year or two, and then the next design comes out, so they drop it. So the ex-vegan things, do you feel it's faded off a bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it hits a peak and then fades, like Bitcoin or whatever. It's just, you know, well, not even like Bitcoin, but these things have a trend. You know, like Durianrider's bad. I'll unfollow him. Okay, that's a trend. And then, you know, ex-vegan's a trend, and this is these trends. Generally, the ex-vegan thing, it was, you know, let's use an example. We've got Bonnie, Rebecca, Tim
Yeah.
Sheaf, or Ravana. 3 people I helped get onto this YouTube platform and push them up, especially Bonnie, especially Ravana. I remember the first day I met Bonnie and said, you should get on YouTube and you do well. She's like, do you think
Yeah.
so? Same with Ravana in New York there. I said, get on YouTube, help you get going. And but yeah, then they started doing the Dr. Greger thing, and they're just following trends.
Right.
And when they followed myself, they were doing great and looked great. Bonnie had glow. She was riding a bike. She had the best fitness. And then they just, when I stopped trending after the drama, then these girls and guys, they drop the trend. They're like, oh, I can't wear this t-shirt because this is not trending anymore. I'll go for this t-shirt. Even though this t-shirt will make me really bad performance-wise, I'll follow it because I'm attached to trends. I've got to be popular in what's the latest and greatest. Even though it's not the greatest, it's the latest, I'll go with that. For these people, the latest is the greatest, even if the latest is the worst, if that makes sense. So they followed Gregor, and then the Gregor plan is like, you know, weigh yourself multiple times a day, 4 cups of coffee a day. And these people who hadn't had coffee for ages started smashing the coffee, getting all like high and mighty and flighty, eating less, and then just feeling, you know, really lethargic, and next day caffeine blues, feeling depressed, and go, oh, I'm not getting enough nutrients, and my diet's not balanced enough. I maybe need to go see a naturopath or a
Yeah.
sociopath, psychopath.
Yeah.
And then they just go, well, I need to eat fish. I need to eat chicken. I need to drink my own urine. I need to do a water fast 20 days.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no. Stop following the latest. The latest isn't the greatest. Follow the fundamentals.
Yeah. And there's something I want to get into there about. We were talking about the breatharianism thing, but the eating less thing, or not eating enough. There's always been a
Yeah.
classic thing in the raw food, especially in the raw food, but probably in vegan as well, of people failing at it because they're not eating enough. And you were one of the biggest advocates back in the day for making sure people knew exactly how much to eat, that they were eating enough, that they were not restricting at all.
Yeah.
Why is that an issue? Like with especially with the raw vegan thing. What is the why do people not instinctively eat enough?
I think that, you know, a lot of us come from like, I came from a background of cycling, and cycling's all about body weight. Right? So I never ever had an eating disorder. I did have disordered eating, you know, thinking I'm going to get leaner and leaner and performance goes up, and it does to a degree, and then you decline. So if you're a cyclist, you focus about weight. If you're a runner, you focus about weight. So you gravitate towards vegan and fruitarianism just because it makes sense with weight. But you
Right.
have people with, you know, with clinical anorexia, people who have had bulimia, they're starving themselves, and, you know, to really low body mass indexes where their performance is just tanked, but they don't care because it's all about being skinny for them. And so then they'll be attracted to this lifestyle. Ronnie, I need you to
Yeah.
have a piss. Can we just pause it for a sec?
Yeah. Sure. Right. Right. Cool. What I wanted to kind of go into a little bit. You're a guy that's been surrounded by so much controversy over the years, right? Um,
Oh, yeah.
let's go. And I don't know how much you've courted that for YouTube. I don't know if you did that on purpose or whatever, but let's talk about the Woodstock Fruit Festival a little bit. Like, how did that all come together? Even just, you know, I'd like to hear the story of how you ended up there. And as far as I can see, 30 Bananas a Day was a huge part of that festival, you know, attracting an audience, as far as I know.
Yeah. that was Woodstock Fruit Festival. Great times. Mike Arnstein, got a lot of time and support from Mike. Even though we had some differences of opinion there, I like the vision that Mike's had. And when I first talked to him back in, I think it was late 2010. No, before, I was talking to Mike for maybe a year before, because he was a runner and he was asking me some questions. And so me and Mike would be talking about cycling and running. And so we got along really, really well. And he's like, I've got this idea. I want to do a Raw Food Festival. I'm like, that's a great idea. And Mike is just an organized dude. Like, I don't know how he does it. He's got the family and his business and his fitness and all the stuff he goes through. And so Mike is also a big inspiration for me. Like, living with Mike in New York, it was a game changer for me. It was a game changer. I get sort of shivers a little bit of the times there. It was just like, it was like a dream come true, going to New York and running around doing the running races in Van Cortlandt Park and stuff like that.
Sure.
No, that was good times. But how did I get going? Mike wanted to use our platform, 30 Bad, to promote the event, and so we put a big banner up there. I think he what was it? Yeah, we did that. We had a big Woodstock banner that Ann Osborne created. It was really good. Ann Osborne does great art, and that was good times, man. That was fun times. And then 2011 was in that first venue we did it, and it was just great. It was like, the vibe was just epic. You know, it was just epic vibe. You know, great times. The fruit quality was okay, which is hard. I remember saying to Mike, I'm like, how are you going to organize good fruit for everybody? It's just so tough to have the right fruit. You know? And us fruit people, us fruit lovers were pretty fussy. But I mean, the fruit was better than I could get it. And you couldn't do that in a vet in Australia. The fruit quality is just too poor. And then Mike did it well. I promoted it heavily because I really believed in it. And I just love being in that environment, helping people out. And it's just, you know, when you get to spend time with people and people can ask you questions face to face, and they can ask you anything. It was just, that's very powerful. And so it was like Doug Graham's, you know, fitness camp, where I got to ask Doug questions, you know, sit at the table and ask him questions and questions and questions, and he'd answer anything. And so that environment, we just learn so quickly when you just sit down and just ask all these questions as a noob. And so understanding how powerful Doug event was back in the day, but how expensive his event was as well. And then seeing Woodstock at a lot more affordable price, more people, I was fully backing that as a powerful tool to help people transition to the lifestyle. And so I was all for it. And so I was promoting it heavily. Every video I think I did, I'd have a plugging it, and it's great. And then Mike, he flew us over, he paid for our flights there, and he put us up at his house in Yonkers there. And that was a great experience. That was a great time, man. I had some incredible life-changing experiences there. Really good times. And that pushed me off even more in my lifestyle, career, and impacts. And as a speaker as well, like, my voice was burned out. I would talk to so many people. And I think Woodstock, it helped me become a better speaker, because my voice was cooked. I would basically, from 6 a.m. till midnight or so, I was answering questions from people non-stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to do that. And I love that. And, yeah.
I
so
mean,
it's great training for me.
And I saw that a lot, Harley, and I've always said, like, there's always a slightly difference between the character Durianrider a little bit and the person in real life, I think. And what I have always said to people is that at Woodstock and in those situations, you were the one by far speaking to the most people, answering the most questions, open to, I mean, I don't want to name names, but there were presenters that were almost hiding away from people. Like, they were freaking out with the attention, and they were like hiding away in their room and stuff. You were always out there, always in the middle of things, always answering questions, never trying to attract attention to yourself. Like, you weren't trying to be the big king at the table, you know what I mean? You were always just like another person at the event. I remember seeing you like pushing people up the hill on the bike, you know, things that people wouldn't think that's what Durianrider is like, you know. So I've always shared that with people whenever they've asked, "Oh, what was Harley like?" or whatever. I've always said, "Well, in reality, he was the guy that was really the easiest to talk to, the most approachable, speaking to the most people." Like, so I totally agree with you on that. I saw that as well.
Yeah, that's, I always treat people well. I'm like, because I was a noob, and everyone's a noob, a beginner. And so I think you got to treat people how you'd want to be treated. And I remember being on my bike in 1996, doing a 100K ride for the first time ever, and a pack of roadies, you know, they came past me, and I tried to get in the back of them, and I couldn't. And one of them held back a bit, and he's like, "Oh, you know, mate, make sure you get your water in there, and you're doing good, mate. It's a hot day today. You're doing good. Don't try and keep up. You know, you just keep chugging away." And they just like lifted me up, and I was this total noob. And then going to the bike shops, people have out with advice and stuff like that. And so when I had all these, you know, beginners and noobs coming to me saying, "I'm inspired by your Harley, blah blah blah," it's like, well, you know, without these people, who am I? I'm nothing. I'm just, you know, an everyday dude doing his thing. And so I always got to give time to people, you know, and that's why I do so much content still today, because I can give to people. People can sit and watch 5,000 or so of my videos for free, and then everything, you know.
Yeah.
It's, if they want more, they can grab my ebook or whatever, or join my coaching group. But I put out so much free content to help people, and it's great. Woodstock was great at times.
But eventually, obviously, there was a falling out at Woodstock, and I don't know the full story behind that, but what came out publicly was you were changed from a pioneer to a special guest or something, and because you were no longer 100% raw, and then it seemed like you guys just decided to put the story out there that you'd been thrown out of the event. I don't know if that's what it felt like to you. I don't think you were officially thrown out, but
no, we weren't thrown out. I don't think I ever said we were thrown out, because we weren't thrown out.
Right.
We were. So the difference between the pioneer and a special guest is Mike Arnstein, being the smart guy he is, he introduced a payment system where when people buy their ticket for Woodstock, they could donate $50 or $100 to their favorite, you know, pioneer, their guest speaker of choice. And so, you know, I became like the top person people were donating to, you know, and I think Frida was second, and Doug was maybe down the line. And so, you know, I took home a lot of money from that, and Doug saw that, and Doug, being ultra money focused, was like, "Hang on, Harley's become competition now for money. I don't like that." And so Doug was saying, "Oh, Harley's giving people B12 injections, and, you know, one guy fainted, and, you know, he's promoting cooked food. There's like this backup option. What's he doing here as a pioneer?" You know, so that the issue was just the money. Before that, Doug was totally fine with that. But once I started making all this money that he wasn't making, all of a sudden it's like, you know, so I was no longer a friend of Doug. I was like, you know, competition financially, and it's like, get him out as a money source. And so I guess I took that sort of personally, so freely. And I was just like, hey, you know what? Why don't we create our own event? And Freely's like, I don't really want to do that. I said, well, I'm going to do that. And I created this event in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, the Woodstock Fruit Festival. And I did that in 2014 by myself. I think it was 3 weeks long. And that was off the charts. You know, that was off the charts.
But going back, we'll get to that in a second. But are you saying that? Do you think it was Doug that was the main conspirator to try and get you removed from the festival in some way, or?
Yeah, from what Mike told me, and from Christina's lack of involvement, because she was sort of friends with me and friends with Doug, and she's like, "Well, I'm not going to vote for anyone. I'm just going to step back." And so yeah, it was you know, Doug was the catalyst of that. Yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
Doug was the catalyst of that, of us being removed from the pioneer list, aka the payment list. And so yeah, and I guess I could see that it was becoming more and more about purity, and, you know, and I didn't want to cause dramas for Mike. You know, I believed in the event. I didn't want to go to Woodstock again and have just tension. So I said, okay, Harley, you know, do your own event, right? Do your own event, your own rules. No one can complain, blah, 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 you know? And I still promoted Woodstock. I said, if you want to go there, go there. It's a great event. I still believe that to this day. I just thought, well, you know, would I go back to Woodstock? For sure. At the time, though, I felt it was just best to create my own event and, you know, go from there. And that was it. It was a massive free event, and it was party time.
But I mean, at that time as well, like you, I mean, I've never heard Doug say that he was the main cat. I guess maybe he wouldn't admit to that. I don't know, but it's kind of weird to me, because I don't know if I don't understand how people didn't see that it was kind of obvious that you were one of the main reasons that the event was getting somewhere, and also you were really one of the main energies behind the whole 80-10-10 phenomenon. You know, that book becoming it's probably selling over 100,000 copies, you know, and Doug
sure,
benefits Doug benefits a lot from that, you know.
Doug never paid me a cent ever, and I didn't ask for any money. I wouldn't have gotten any either if I asked him. But Doug never paid me a cent. I never asked him anything, but I believed in his teaching so much. I was promoting him for free. I was doing videos about him, and some of them get like 50,000, 100,000 views, which was huge back in the day.
Sure.
And so I was like I was the sort of poster boy-ish, if you want to call it that, or the main promoter of 80-10-10. I was giving it like validation as an athlete.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing in a raw food world of calorie restriction. Doug wasn't overtly promoting that calorie restriction, so I was like, give 80-10-10 the boost up, and it's great. If you're gonna do raw food, that's the way to go.
Because the way that I saw it at the time was like, I remember, you know, and I was following you. A bunch of people were following you and seeing what you were doing, and what you were doing is working. And then you were basically saying, but this is the guy that you should, you know, this is the book you should. So everyone thought Doug was the man because you were the man online, but you were saying, no, this guy's the man. So everyone's like, that guy must really be the man, right? And then at Woodstock, as you remember, the pioneers were all announced. You, Christina, Chris Kendall, everyone else. And then Doug was the last one. It was like everyone stands up, standing ovation, and all that
That's
stuff.
right.
And I remember that, like, it was weird because I remember he started talking about his house, and it was just a weird moment. It was like, that's not what the audience was really looking for from him, you know. Like, he was, and I wonder if he sometimes. I wonder if in that moment he didn't realize that everyone kind of saw him or were looking to him to be the leader, and maybe he wasn't comfortable with doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, Doug is. I've got no hard feelings towards Doug. Got no hate for Doug. I've still got a lot of mutual friends and stuff like that. It's no issues. It's just, as a person, I think Doug can improve by taking. He can't admit he's wrong. And I think if you can't admit you're wrong in life, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, but I'll take accountability for that. I'll say, I was wrong. I'm sorry. How can I make it better? And I think that's a huge thing in life, is you've got to have that self-accountability. Doug doesn't have that, in my opinion, my experience. And so he just can't see, for whatever reason, maybe it's insecurity or whatever. It's like, if he makes a mistake, he's like, I can't fail. Maybe it's this A-type personality, but if you have that in life, you suffer. People around you suffer because you just can never say you're wrong. And so I think being able to say, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, how can I make it better? That's one of the cornerstones for a happy life. It doesn't matter how good your diet is, if you don't have that, it's going to age you and rot you from the inside. And so, and that's a huge one I've worked on over the last 15 years, of just having accountability, and saying, yeah, I was wrong.
But you, after that whole situation, you kind of online, you kind of attacked Christina quite a lot. You obviously, this totally, this is associated from Doug. Did you feel personally like they'd kind of let you down? Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what it was. I got no hate to Christina either. I haven't talked to her for ages, but first I met her was in Douglas camp in 2006, and I guess, I helped Christina get a career going with YouTube, and I was telling her what to wear and what to say, and videos, and all that stuff. So I felt I helped her get her YouTube career launched. And then when she sort of flaked out, on the Woodstock voting thing, I was just like, oh, man, I just expected more of her. And when you got expectations of people and they don't meet them, then you naturally feel disappointed. So I felt let down by Christina, and me being me, putting my feelings up on YouTube. People ask me my opinion, and I'd share my opinion. So yeah, no hard feelings to Christina. I also told her to give up her raw food co-op because it was just draining her too much, and eventually she's done that. So that's good to see. I hope she's doing well.
Right, and obviously, and you kind of went from being Doug's biggest supporter in a way to, like, kind
biggest
of,
critic.
yeah, and a lot of people came after you and kind of went after Doug after that with some of the things that happened with the girl at the fasting
Yeah,
retreat.
Lee, I think her name was
Yeah,
Leah.
Leah Bradster.
She was, yeah, Lee Bradster. So she almost died during a water fast, had to have a blood transfusion, and things like that happen. But the fact, just how Doug tried to keep it secret, I was like, man, that's not ethical, man. Like you're trying to get her to sign a non-disclosure, and it's like an NDA. It's just, nah, man. That's just, just admit you made a mistake, or admit that you should screen people better before a fast. Like people should, you should test them for anemia before they fast. Like because that costs money, doesn't do that. So it's just, I don't know. I just lost a lot of respect for Doug as a person, how way, he instructed events and stuff like that. It just, I lost a lot of faith there. So, yeah. And I don't believe in wood fast anymore after seeing all that.
And I've heard the other side to the story a little bit with people that were at that event that were saying that Leah was fine and was not anywhere near as bad as she kind of claimed to be after it. And I don't really know exactly what went on there, but anyway.
The fact that she went to the hospital and had a blood transfusion, it seemed pretty. You're not going to go to hospital, and they're not going to admit you and give you a blood transfusion unless you need it.
Right.
So yeah.
So you went from there to, obviously, as you say, you started the Thai Fruit Fest, and that was, as you say, that was a pretty big event. It wasn't like it was in competition with Woodstock. It was a totally different thing, but
There's no money. It was just different style. It was cooked food. It was, your own accommodation. Woodstock is like the one-stop shop. Like you just go there, everything's taken care of: food, accommodation, speaking, everything. Yeah, my event was just chaos and just a big rat pack, just a big rat pack of carb lovers. And
how many years did that go on?
And threesomes and crazy stuff.
But this is the funny thing, Harley, because like you had this big following who were following you with the fruit thing and the raw thing. A lot of them kind of faded off when you went away, when you went back to cook food and everything. Then you got this new following that was all the as you say, the carb lovers, plant-based, whatever you want to call it, Russell 4, and they were all following you, and they were all dissing the thing you did in the past, like they were all joined in with dissing Doug Graham and Woodstock and all that kind of stuff. But gradually, a lot of those people turned on you as well. Like a lot of the people in the Russell 4 thing, High Carb Hannah, Derek, people like that. Once again, that probably got quite a lot of their start from your inspiration, I guess.
Yeah, Hannah left a great comment on my channel the other month. She left a very supportive comment saying, I wouldn't be here without you, High Carb Hannah, and that's what, that was great. That was great. It showed gratitude, and I really appreciated that. Even though Hannah, she's used a bit of my angle, creating controversy, and got a channel going, and she started making videos about me. And I messaged her and said, look, I wrote an email. I said, Hannah, like, you could be really big. You could be a lot bigger than you are now. Let me support you. Let me give you some tips. Let me, help you with the thumbnails. Let me help you with content. But what I ask is you remove the negative videos about me and Freely. And she's like, okay, deal. And I was like, smart girl, and then bang, her channel she launched right up. And I'm like, I just want to help people.
Right.
And if you want to help me, I want to help you as well, and it's just a win-win. So Hannah was very smart like that. And she just could see the logic, and I think she's got a good heart. And so, yeah. So that was Hannah was a great example of someone who maybe felt a bit rejected by me or Freely, and for stuff you guys make a video about you, and that worked, and then she got a bit of traction. But then also she was like, well, at what expense is this for our community? So then she has a good heart, and and so she worked with me in the end, and she did really well. And I said, like anyone, if you work with me, especially if you got talent like Hannah does, then you're gonna do really, really well. And if you work against me, then it just hurts the community. And if it hurts the community, it hurts you, and it hurts me. It's lose-lose.
so you went, the Russell 4 thing became a bit of a phenomenon online. A lot of people were following that.
Yep.
There was a lot of people that were critical of some of your advice, like about unlimited carbohydrates and stuff like that. And then there was people that were kind of claiming that they were putting on a lot of weight eating like that. What's your opinion about that? Do you think they were really following it, or?
No, they weren't. I mean, okay, this is what I love about being a coach, of coaching people for free for so many years.
Yeah.
And having these free events, because it was like, like my doctor friends tell me that they learn the most when they actually work in the hospitals or work in the clinics, and as a student doctor or whatever, they got all these people coming in with like infections, and I've got this thing on my finger, I think it's a spider bite or whatever. And so it's like, when you see different cases and different things, you learn really quickly. You can read all the books and study everything, but when you in real life application and someone's in your face and they're like super anorexic, or they're super obese, or they're on thyroid medication, or they're, you get to learn so much quicker. And so I learned that, if you're fat and you're following my program, it's one of two things. You're not following it. You're sneaking on the side, which is human behavior. Two, you've come from a period of anorexia or restriction where you've developed a lot of thyroid and insulin resistance issues. So when you start refeeding, you gain. And there's a great proof of that now for people to follow. Is a girl called Stephanie Butterfield, or Stephanie Buttermore, who was a fitness competitor, bikini competition girl, who was using clenbuterol and starving herself and getting really skinny to like Natasha's level, but doing it the wrong way with drugs and starvation. And now she's refeeding. She's gaining a lot of weight. Some people would call her obese or fat or whatever. She's larger than she was. And it's a great example of adaptive thermogenesis. And so these people who are coming to me, and they're mostly girls, are inspired by Freely's before transition, and they're attached to that because I want to get a body like Freely. And so they'd be coming to me like, how'd you get Freely to that level? And I'm like, well, we do this, we do that, we eat as much as we want. And so these girls have gained from adaptive thermogenesis, and then and then weight would come back down again, and they'd be looking great and feeling great. But a lot of girls wouldn't do the time. They just think I'm gaining weight, this is working, they'll jump to some other trend.
Sure.
The ones who say, I'm really doing it, and I'm like, well, you're 95 kilos and you're the same height as Freely, you're not doing it. That's not adaptive thermogenesis, that's KFC thermogenesis, all right? You're going to gain, but if you're gaining that much, no, you're sneaking. And so then what people would do would use these examples as examples of like, hey, Harley's program doesn't work. And it's like, well, why don't you, use my girlfriends as examples versus some weirdo on taking heaps of medication that's causing a lot of weight gain.
What's the kind of science behind that? Because as far as I'm aware, if you have a diet where you overeat carbohydrates, it's totally different than a diet where you're overeating on fat in terms of the ability of the body to gain weight. And when you eat over your caloric needs in terms of carbohydrates, that it's more difficult for the body to store that as fat, or potentially it doesn't store it much as fat. Can you clear that up a little bit?
Well, yeah, when you eat fat, the body stores it as fat. Excess protein stored as fat. Excess carbohydrate, your body pees it out or burns it by dietary thermogenesis, aka you start sweating, you get hot, you take off your jacket or peel off a bit. Does it get stored as fat? It can. If you're a period of restricting, maybe did some intermittent fasting or water fasting or keto diet or any carbohydrate restrictive diet beforehand, then your metabolism, your thyroid mostly, and your insulin, your fasting insulin levels are going to be all whacked out. Your fasting insulin will be higher, your thyroid will be lower, your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone will be higher because your body's trying to stimulate your T4 production. And so then when you come over to this, my recommendation, unlimited carbs, you're like, unlimited carb, what? And you just start chowing down because your body's like, eat. And so you're going to gain weight, and you have to, and that's great at healing your thyroid, at helping your insulin resistance, reversing your adaptive thermogenesis. And so there's this period of weight gain, but you hit a ceiling, and you don't become obese. You become like, a bit roundish, and then over time it's going to go down. But let's say you're doing the Stephanie Buttermore thing, and you're eating chicken and fat and all the grease and the Krispy Kreme donuts, then the weights, that's how people get obese. And I knew a girl in high school, she was, amazing body. Her name was Kylie, and she had this fit, tight body. And then I remember seeing her after high school, and she was like morbidly obese. And I was like, what? How does that happen? That was back in 1994. And so from 94 onwards, I was like just amazed at weight gain and weight loss. And we just thought Kylie was just naturally hot and naturally fit and stuff. But she was obviously doing some restricting there. And so from 94 onwards, I was just like amazed at how the human body works, like genuinely amazed. And still to this day, with steroids or weight loss or athletics or all sorts of things, I don't know what it is. I just love studying humans and spiders and bugs and snakes and cats and whatever. I just love that animal behavior and understanding that. Sure. That's my passion.
Sure. But go back to your event, that didn't come without its controversies again. I've seen videos of you like in arguments with people or fights or whatever it was. I'm not sure what it was. Obviously there was a lot of allegations surrounding you and a few women that were saying kind of inappropriate behavior, whatever, and a lot of stuff coming out about you being a narcissist and all this stuff. And
let's get into it if you want.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've not really got any opinion. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Whatever. I don't personally think you're a narcissist from what I've seen of you or been around you and all that, but I don't know you super well. But yeah, what's your side of that?
I'm definitely a narcissist to some degree. I believe everybody is. Everybody's a bit crazy. Everybody's a bit narcissist, but it's whether or not your craziness or your narcissism is starting to impact other people negatively. So everyone's aggressive. Everyone's got their violent streak. Everyone's got a temper, but how bad is that? How bad does it affect other people in your life? And so, it's let's talk about we did a few videos in Thailand. We did troll videos where I was dressed up in a banana outfit, throwing someone's bike wheels into the lake, and that was just there's a lot of troll videos Durianrider sold to me. There was troll stuff. There was, and some people believe that stuff is real, but it's just totally trolling and acting. There was one altercation we had on the hill on the doy with Sam McCallum, where I was screaming at him. I was super frustrated. He tried to get my YouTube channel taken down. I was just, I wasn't going to hit him because he's a semi-mate and he's a lot smaller than I was. And just, hitting someone, for one, is wrong. Two, someone small is wrong.
Wasn't there guys as well that were coming to your festival and they were just like really irresponsible, cycling down the hill, like really fast, really dangerous? Wasn't there that kind of stuff going on as well?
Yeah, I mean, there was people going to hospital, every second day with broken collarbones, broken leg. One girl smashed her teeth. It was just, so it was out of hand. So crazy. It was, and I was there by myself trying to control this craziness. And so I felt like the angry dad. All these like unruly kids. So the day I saw Sam up the door, I just I just said, "What are you doing?" I was just screaming at him, and then he filmed that, put it onto YouTube, and we're all good now. We talked about it afterwards, so it's all good. So someone might see that video and go, "Oh my God, Harley's crazy," but it's like they don't see afterwards that I talked to Sam. It's like, "Hey mate, whatever." Like there's no hard feelings there. He doesn't fear me or whatever. There's no. But if someone saw that video about the context, I was sitting with Sam at dinner like a year later talking about it and saying you're an idiot putting that content up. It just doesn't make us look good. So that's all good now. And even recently someone uploaded it to the internet and I said to Sam, "Hey, can you get this taken down?" He took it down. So it's great there. And then there was the one with Hannah and her boyfriend Michael from Norway, who made 130 videos about me, aka Norwegian. And that was basically me and Philly split up in 2015 the first time. It was about October, and Philly broke up with me the first time. I broke up with her last time. But, the first time she broke up with me, so I was just like, okay, I felt a lot of rejection. I was just like, what's going on? Like, broke up with me over the phone. I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna stop living my life then. And so, as you've seen, I have a lot of female fans, and we're in Chiang Mai, and so I had all these fangirls and friends. I call them friends at the time. And they could just sniff something was wrong. And so Hannah was one of them. So she came out to the hotel room a few times there, and we started to do a vegan skin. And then her boyfriend found out, and so she, Michael found out a year later, and so she sort of changed the story with him. She didn't, she obviously never went on record and said anything bad happened because nothing ever did. But this Michael guy felt like something bad did happen, so he sort of orchestrated a story. And I'm like, well, why don't you go to the police? Like, I'm not a hard guy to find. Let's go to court. Let's do whatever you want. Let's have Hannah there as well. Let's do a polygraph and let's talk about all the emails and photos and that she sent me afterwards, and all the consensual activities went on that night. And so and then he created a website about me, trying to paint me as some sort of rapist or whatever. And I'm like, well, there's not a single woman out there on the internet who's ever said Durianrider or Harley has raped me, because that's never ever happened. And so people paint this fake social narrative of whatever. And then there was a girl called Josie who we hooked up. We had sex maybe 20 or 30 times there, and she was mad into me. And I was just like, I was single at the time. That was in 2016. And she was a cool girl. She was great. And I remember buying her a computer because she told me this story where she was dead broke and she had no money and the computer was dodgy. So I bought her a computer, and I said, you can have this computer. If you upload every day for a year, you can have this computer. It was a nice computer. If you don't upload every day on YouTube, then you have to give the computer back. She's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So it's a deal. We shook hands, and then she stopped uploading content, and we still talking. I said, well, you broke the deal. I have to get the computer back off you. She goes, yeah, no worries. And this is in 2017. And I said, hey, Joyce, I'm in town. You're in town. Can I get that computer off you? And she started to get all like, well, I don't have it anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? Like, that's the deal. And I said, look, where is it? I want to come over and get the computer. Well, I said, actually, don't worry about that. You drop it off at this restaurant. And she's like, why are you going to give it to her? And I'm like, I'm not giving it to her. I'm just going to pick it up. I'm like, it's my computer. And so she started getting all like bratty on me. And I said, look, you know what? I'll get the police involved. She's like, fine. And so I went over to her apartment and got the police to come along. And they were going to arrest her on theft if she didn't give the computer back. And then she gave it back, and that was it. What I did wrong there, though, was, Josie was talking crap to me, so I was talking crap back to her. And then that Michael Hebo Norwegian guy got wind of that. So he used Josie as a bit of a pawn to, like, he did a video, I think it's called Another Girl Comes Forward or whatever. And it's like, comes forward with what? There's no allegations in the video at all. But using the title of like, something bad happened when nothing bad happened. What the mistake I made was having sex with these girls, at an intensity where they got attached and then they felt rejected and I didn't meet their expectations.
Yeah.
And then they felt hurt. And when a hurt girl gets the shot to get back at you and you're a guy, then, you better hope that you got the evidence there to back up. And so that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, it's just Josie and Hannah. And I've got no hard feelings towards them. I understand that, they probably don't understand how bad it was to the community and how bad people will look at them and their reputation. Like, if you're a guy and Hannah or Josie, then you're going to be like, hang on, like, you guys lied hard. Right. Well, you didn't even lie. You let people lie about Harley. And you didn't clear it up. That's pretty bad.
Right.
And you have to live with that pain. That's going to eat you up. That's a big lie.
A lot of people that were obviously had an agenda against you kind of used that at the time, jumped on that bandwagon, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so is that event finished now? You don't do that so much, or?
It got too big. It got out of hand. Someone was going to die on the joy. It was, people just weren't listening to me, and so it was causing me. As much as I loved helping people, safety is a priority as well. So I was like, well, I don't want to have someone come to Thailand and die because And so I'll be doing some more events in Thailand, more like paid events, smaller ones. And when you charge people money, you generally have more control of them. For whatever that crazy reason that is, you have more control. People respect the rules more.
Yeah,
if they're paid to be there.
You attract a different type of person as well.
You attract more, mature, controllable people. So safety is number one. Safety is just number one. And so that's it. Got too big, got too chaotic.
Didn't you get attacked recently or something? Like, you've obviously you've had so much like enemies, I guess, or whatever, online trolls or whatever over the years.
Stalkers, jealous people. I can't talk about too much about that one. That's the only thing
Right,
I can talk about. Oh, I guess it's going to court, and for legal, I can't really get too much into that.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm aware of the name of the guy, but I won't mention it. That's fine.
Yeah, which was that, but that was again just an example of like, some people are obsessed about me. Some people are obsessed about me. But we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Sure. So what do you think about like the state of the vegan movement right now as it is online? I mean, I kind of see, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I kind of see that you were a big part in pushing it all online and getting people on YouTube and things like that. A lot of people have came after you, and especially a lot of Americans that maybe appeal more to the American audience than you do. I don't know. They kind of were inspired by you. And I think a lot of people, I think you're right in saying there's a lot of people that went on to praise Dr. McDougall, all of those kind of guys. And I remember thinking, but they only heard about Dr. McDougall because of Harley. Like you used to post his videos as well. And then, so a lot of those people are all like, oh, Harley's wrong, Dr. McDougall, whatever. But what do you think about it now? It seems like, Dr. Gregor's thing, as you were saying, seems to be really big at the moment. Vegan, I mean, plant-based veganism seems to be just really blowing up. I don't know what's happening in Australia, but over here, as soon as any company launches a vegan product, it's like sold out. My friend's got a restaurant he just started. He says people are always asking him, do you have a vegan option? Do you have a vegan option? So it seems like it's really, really blowing up a lot.
That's really good. And that's the goal. That was always the goal. I was like, and I think that, I was a big part of that. As narcissistic it might sound, I feel that, helping freely lose the weight and using, weight loss as a massive, hey, look, you can, if you're a girl, you can get a bikini body. That was huge. And I really, a lot of people don't understand the power of weight loss. And I used to do talks about health and stuff. People don't really care too much about it. Weight loss is huge. And
it kind of blows my mind, especially for women, but for guys as well. Like the power of weight loss and the emotion surrounding it is just absolutely crazy. Like I think a lot of women hide that. I think they say, I'm into this for health and spirituality and fitness. And underneath it all, it's like, there's a little girl inside that hates being fat, or, wants to be thin, wants to be loved, wants to be beautiful, whatever it is. And that's such a driving emotion. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, like which is crazy.
Think of all the girls that I know, who have been at Doug Graham's water fast or someone else's water fast. Like, why is a 19-year-old girl doing a 30-day water fast? In my mind, I'm like, there's only one reason. Like, and I spoke to Doug about this, and he says, no one's ever come to my fast to lose weight, just to lose weight. And I'm like, really? Like
99% of them do. 99% of them do.
And it's always quoted in like, it's about spirituality, it's about unpeeling some emotional layer or getting over some trauma, but like weight loss, I totally believe you on that.
Yeah, if you want to heal emotional trauma, then apologize to people you burned. Even if they don't accept your apology, ring them up and say, hey, look, I was wrong, sorry. Even if they hang the phone down in your head, then that's healing. Like making amends of the past. You can do all the water fasts in the world. If you've been a bugger to someone, they ain't gonna fix that. You need to make amends for what you've done. And whether they accept your apology or not doesn't matter, but you have to have that intention of healing past mistakes you've made. Whether it's your parents, your ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, or whatever, just like apologizing, and whether or not they accept it or not. It's just your intention is everything, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, people weight loss is huge. I really underestimated it, and it's crazy. It's crazy that how powerful it's fame and weight loss. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good you look. What matters is who you are inside. Doesn't mean you have the best physique or whatever. But if you're an a-hole, you're a toxic person, who cares, really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, who you are inside is the most important thing. Your self-respect, your self-love, your spirit for community, your helping people, your understanding of physiology and wanting to help people with that. That's what matters. Helping the environment. Doesn't matter if you're hot or not, like who you are inside is what counts. But I understand people don't really care about that too much. We live in such a shallow, narcissistic world. And I prey on people's need like that. I prey on, flex my abs or say, look how lean Natasha is or whatever, because that's the hook to get people in, to get them thinking about nutrition and thinking about how they live their lives and thinking about their environmental footprint, etc. I understand that now, but weight loss, that's the instant hook. That's the biggest hook because of social approval. Because we think it means something, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
At a full level.
Yeah.
At a spiritual level, weight loss means nothing.
Yeah, I mean, but still, like, I always thought instinctively, like, your message back in the day of like, don't restrict, eat as much as you like that kind of thing. I always felt like that was probably as well from your experiences. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I always thought it was because you knew there were so many anorexic prone people that were coming into raw foods, that were coming towards veganism, and that you were trying to at the outset say you don't do that. Like, don't, like, cut that out. Is that part of it as well? Were you seeing like that kind of anorexia mindset a lot of the time?
Yeah, it's both. Like, when you're anorexic, from what I've seen with people, you don't feel good. You don't feel good. All the smiles are forced. The caffeine is keeping you awake. You're not happy. And so I'm always performance driven. Performance is health. And if you don't have performance, you don't have health.
Let me ask you, have you ever met someone that has clearly got some kind of eating disorder, and to your face, they will just not admit it? Like, they will just say they eat lots. Have you ever had that experience? Because I feel like I've had that experience with people. Like, they're so underweight, and they're saying, like, I eat so much, this is just how I am, this is just my metabolism. I'm like, and they're so convincing for a moment. I'm like, really? And I go, wait, no, that can't be
lies. Because they've lied to their parents. When you lie to your parents at a deep level, you can lie to anyone because you live with your parents. So yeah, they lie, and they lie because they're scared of people finding out they're not perfect. We lie because we're scared of people punishing us for being honest.
That's crazy, man. That's such a powerful comment. They lie because they're scared that people find out they're not perfect. That's amazing.
Because this is my coming back to studying human behavior. We lie to people so they find out we're not perfect, because we're fearing they don't find out we're not perfect. That's why these guys taking steroids and stuff and looking all jacked and shredded and aesthetic, and they will lie about this taking the steroids, even though they're clearly abusing the steroids. Or the girls getting surgery or whatever. I'm not doing surgery. No, because they're scared of that criticism. Oh, but you've done surgery. Oh, but you do steroids. They're scared of people finding out they're not perfect because there's such an insecurity level, from childhood, being rejected by their mum or their dad or their school teacher they looked up to. You're not good enough, and that rejection really hurts, and so they never want to feel that ever again. So these people strive. They have anorexia or drug issues or steroids or whatever, it's attachment to fame, because they have to have validation, because that hurts so much when they were 5 years old and they presented the class, the school, to the school captain or whatever, the presentation they did or their school project, and someone laughed at them and said, that's the dumbest thing ever, you're stupid. And that just cut deep into them. They never want to feel that ever again. So they're just always trying to impress and get validation for that. And so we can make fun of narcissists and whatever, but at a deep level, there's a reason people do that. And so that's what it's all about, understanding that. And once you get enough carbohydrates in, you just start to shift in your head a bit. You're less attached to what people think about you. You still care. And the reason why we do care about what people think about us is because we're pack animals. We came from the jungle, where if you get kicked out of the pack, you're tiger food in a few hours. And so we want to be with the pack, because the pack is safety. It's like a bunch of sardines. The sardine that's out of the school is tuna food. So we're just attached to people's opinions so strongly. But hey, it's 2020. People can hate us. It doesn't matter, because we're not in the jungle anymore. We won't get eaten by a tiger.
Yeah.
So if people hate you, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's okay to be rejected. It's okay to be hated, especially by people who don't even like themselves.
Yeah. Let me go back to the ex-vegan thing. Now, there's a lot of people that, and I want to ask you about this because of your knowledge of the body, the performance. A lot of these guys are saying, I was vegan, blah, blah, blah. I mean, as far as I remember, they were all saying they were vegan, they were doing phenomenal, right? And then all of a sudden, their story is their health was falling apart on vegan. They eat one piece of fish overnight, next morning, the lights have come on, right? What is that experience they're having, you think?
That's just total. Because you look at their face, like let's use Bonnie Rebecca as an example. And not to hate on Bonnie, no hate to her, just using her as an example. When she was following my advice, she was glowing. You know, she was glowing. And now if you look at her, the glows, in my opinion, has gone a lot. She had this glow, and so did her boyfriend at the time, Tim. They were like Durianrider fangirls and fanboys the highest order. They were glowing. They looked amazing, had energy, and relative to now, where Tim is just doesn't even want to show himself on camera, and Bonnie as well is just like, you know, high on the makeup to just try and create a bit of that youthful glow she used to have. And so you can't deny that when you have glow on your face, that's something good going on there. You know, you can't fake glow. And especially middle of the day when your blood's pumped and you've got some lymph going on, you know, maybe when you wake up the first thing in the morning, you're looking all, you know, bedhead. I just got out of bed before, so I'm probably looking a bit haggard, but there's this glow you have when you're healthy.
Yeah.
And you're having good sex or whatever. It's just, you know, getting the carbs in, you go to bed early. There's this glow you have. And so, yeah, then people say, I had a bit of fish and my life changed. And it's like, well, you eating fish beforehand. And you did a testimony. Oh my God, Durianrider advice is so good. You know, I feel so amazing. And then delete that video and then make another video. Oh, I'm eating fish now. I feel so amazing. It's like, well, your performance doesn't indicate that. Your glow doesn't indicate that. This is just more of a clickbait video to try and get some significance or attention, which is understandable if you're a YouTuber.
Sure.
So yeah, if fish was a performance food, you know, it's I would still be eating it.
I was wondering if it was kind of like what you were saying before, if it somehow stimulated, you know, adrenaline or anything like that, or do you think it was?
I think if you have a can of fish, like I stopped eating fish, you know, one, because of the environmental issues. But I'm like, well, I could still eat fish ethically. I could go to the pet shop in the morning and buy all the goldfish that died overnight. You know, the goldfish they live their existence. I could do that. I could go to the beach and find dead fish on the water and eat them. So you can definitely get fish ethically. You get fish from the bin. You get fish from the bin that's been thrown out. That's totally fine, but they just had to throw it out because it's over 24 hours old. So you can definitely get fish ethically, and eat it ethically and karmically. But it's not a performance food. There's nothing in fish that your body needs. And a little of adrenaline from the fish, that wouldn't be much. So yeah, it's purely placebo. It's purely placebo. I gave a friend an acid trip one time. It was a fake acid trip. It's back in 1992, and we got a piece of paper. Me and a few mates. I drew a little mushroom or whatever it was, or purple O. That's what it was. And we gave it to our friend. It's just acid trip. And he tore it in half, took half of it, and he was like tripping out, you know, like it was just a piece of paper. But yeah, he was genuinely tripping. He generally believed it was an acid trip. And so the placebo effect is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about performance, you've controversially kind of talked about experiments with steroids. What things have you tried? Do you still do any of them? Like, what's happening with you with that?
Yeah, just personal curiosity. In 2000, I read a book. I had a friend called Jade, and he loaned me a book called Positive, which was written by Werner Rieterer. And Werner Rieterer was Australia's best ever track and field athlete. He was a discus thrower, and he was just a natural freak.
Right.
And he was setting some really good records naturally. But at big competition meets, he was getting smashed by the guys who were on the drugs. And before Sydney Olympics, he's like, you know, stuff it. I'm gonna get on the program. and he got on the steroids and all that, and he was set to win gold at Sydney Olympics. And I remember the story correctly, he just felt so bad about it, just being another fake natty and being an Australian icon gold medalist on drugs. He pulled the pin and he wrote his book.
Wow.
And so, but he weren't a story in the book. It would have, every man out there who read the book who's an athlete at the time would have been like, oh, what does it feel like to be on steroids, you know? And with the whole Lance Armstrong thing, and just my personal curiosity got the better of me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get some steroids from the doctors, some testosterone, and I'm gonna take that. And how does it feel? And me being mindful of how powerful these steroids are, whether you're taking the contraceptive pill, if you take it longer than a few weeks, you shut down your natural production. You know, so if you're on the pill, then you stop ovulating. If you're on testosterone, then your balls stop working in terms of producing your own testosterone.
Right, yeah.
So I've never taken it consistently longer than 4 or 5 weeks, 5 weeks, I'd say. And so I've taken it on and off here and there. Just a different compound comes in, I might try that. But it's, you know, the amounts I've used have been very small. As you can tell, that my physique's still pretty skinny. My voice did change though. I put on a little bit more muscle.
Your voice changes on steroids?
Permanently.
Really?
Permanently. If you take testosterone, I would say for 4 weeks, 250 milligrams a week, which is very low dosage, which is a hormone replacement dosage, aka TRT. 250 milligram a week is not much. It's enough though to create permanent changes in your voice. It was for me. I've taken other compounds as well, anabolics, but again, small amounts, short term, you know, a bit like, you know, I don't know, I don't want to totally change my physique. I don't want to totally
yeah, I mean,
lose my running physique. So I've always dabbled here and there.
The one thing I'd say is your shoulders look a lot bigger than back. Like this whole area for you looks bigger than it was back in the day. And I don't know if that's
steroids.
You think?
Steroids.
Like permanent change?
I'm also not doing as much cycling as I used to do.
Right.
That's a factor as well. But the biggest factor is anabolic steroid usage. It changes your body permanently. Yeah.
Really? Permanently?
Yeah, and I'm still doing weights here and there as well. It definitely changes.
Yeah.
At some level, especially if you're really skinny, like I used to be. It changes. Let's say I was naturally this big.
Yeah.
Then you won't notice that much of a change. But if you're really skinny, like I used to always be, and you take steroids, it's undeniable. You know, it's undeniable. It changes you permanently. You basically hit maturity. You lose your boyishness, and you know, I've got hair on my chest now that I never used to have. So it changes you, even just small doses here and there.
Jeez,
I've used different compounds, but I've never actually done a proper steroid cycle, which would consist of maybe 500 milligrams a week for 10 weeks. If I did that, then you'd see noticeable differences.
Given that, like, this is a bit totally out there, but what do you think about the whole, with how powerful those things are? What do you think about like the movement, the transgender thing, and all that? Where like sometimes maybe people are advocating for kids being put on these kind of hormones and things like that, basically for life. And like, I don't know. I kind of just from hearing your information, I'd kind of like to hear some of your take on that, if you've got any opinion on it.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, what's the specific question?
Is it dangerous? Like, is it bad for people's health, basically?
I think steroids are, the contraceptive pill is definitely more dangerous than anabolic steroids. Like the amount of steroids some of these bodybuilders take on YouTube, etc., Instagram, they're taking a lot. They're taking like a gram a week, every week for like a whole year, plus other compounds like D-bol and anadrol and trenbolone acetate. They're abusing steroids, but we don't see people dropping dead in the gym from steroid abuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steroids, honestly, the danger of steroids is the mind, how it can change your brain. If you're a fragile person or an aggressive person and you do steroids, that can make you more fragile and more aggressive. So myself, I'm pretty grounded, and I feel if I did become a full-on fake natty, I could handle that. But if you're a person with mental health issues, emotional issues, and you start taking decent amounts, then when you come off of that, that can really hit you very hard. So I think that there needs to be more emotional screening for especially young kids out there. They're 18, they're 19, they're hopping on steroids, they're hopping on a contraceptive pill. Their brain's not fully formed yet. They don't have that adult executive function, and they're just taking this contraceptive pill every day. They're shutting down their ovulation cycle, or they're injecting testosterone. They're shutting down their balls cycle, and their hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis, the HPG. They're shutting that down, and that can cause emotional issues once you get off, or various times when they're doing carb restriction and taking clenbuterol, and these things are powerful drugs that can really cook your head. So we're seeing suicides. We're seeing that. We're not seeing overdose. You can't overdose on steroids. You could take too many Adderall and have liver toxicity, but you won't die from that.
Well, I've always thought that the bodybuilders died young because of the bodybuilder diet. Nothing to do with the steroids. Like eight eggs with breakfast. And,
it's all that blood pressure. The blood pressure. We do see suicides. We also see recreational drug abuse and cocaine. And then they dehydrate themselves in the sauna. So the blood pressure's like, they're red. The neck is so red. Like, pop. So blood pressure, a heart attack can kill them, but it's not the steroids as much as the diet and the excess of party drugs and stuff like that, the blood pressure non-regulation. So the steroids aren't the cause of that. There's a bit of correlation there, but I wouldn't say it's causation. But in terms of answer your question on giving kids who want to change genders steroids, that's a dangerous slope. I think I don't think people should take steroids unless they have a real medical need for it. It's because once let's say you have an ovarian issue, you don't produce enough estrogen, okay, then there's a place for you. Let's say you had a testicular issue and you don't produce enough testosterone, okay, there's a place for testosterone for you. But if you've got a perfectly functioning endocrine system and you're introducing these powerful compounds, that changes your head, and that could be a good or a bad thing. So I think we should have more screening. What sort of person? I had a friend who used steroids and he committed suicide last year. So it's, and he's not a guy who should have taken steroids, So it has to be more screening, but that's not going to happen because we live in a chaotic world where everyone's just so busy and it's crazy. Like we've got the Harvey Weinstein thing going down now.
Sure.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein, he's just this Hollywood dude who's banged all these starlets, and they're coming out saying, oh, he raped me. And it's like, well, he made you a millionaire. He made you famous. And the sex was, you probably didn't like it and now you regret it. But was it really rape? Did the jury convict you because of social pressure? I mean, it wasn't a knife point rape it wasn't, in my opinion, like a full-on real one. But what we do see is we see genuine rapes of kids out there, forced into prostitution, they're kidnapped, they're human trafficked, and there's no voice for them. We have Rose McGowan in UK saying, hey, I'm a survivor, me too. And it's like, no, you're not. You're a famous celebrity because of Harvey Weinstein. You know what I mean? You're nothing without Harvey. And you had an unfortunate situation with him, but this wasn't too bad. He made you a millionaire.
It's so funny. I was thinking about that Harvey Weinstein thing. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about that Harvey Weinstein thing. It's kind of weird that, and there's memes that go up online of a lot of the people that came out against him, and then there's a picture of them with him, like hugging him and kissing him and all this stuff back in the day. And even if he was raping people or whatever, I just find it weird that they were all protecting him. Like, why were they protecting him? If he was doing that, why did they not do something like that? And I don't know this whole situation, but
yeah. But here's the thing: like, how is Harvey going to rape anyone? Dude's got no fitness. He's like, how do you undress someone? And like, it doesn't happen like that. Like, it just can't happen like that. What's happened, in my opinion, is these girls, they regretted it, and that he made him. Harvey was a father figure for these women out there who wanted significance, who had massive insecurity. I mean, look at Rose, how much surgery's done on the face. She doesn't accept herself. And so Harvey Weinstein was this father figure for her who made her famous, who made her very, very rich. He probably treated her like junk, and she felt rejected from that. So she wanted to say, okay, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. How can I do that? I'm going to destroy your reputation. I'm going to call you a rapist, And that's what happens. We have these, like, these women out there who were nuts and damaged, and they claimed fake rape.
Yeah.
You know, when it was a bit like grey area, but it wasn't like, you know, knife point, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it's funny. Like if you have a jury of the average man, they would probably be looking at Harvey Weinstein, going, he must have raped them. There's no way they would have sex with him. But he was like the alpha male of Hollywood. Like he was the power. So
he would have banged thousands and thousands of hot young women. He would have smashed through so many women, you know. And the fact that people say I disagree. I think what he did was wrong, some of the things, but there's no context there. Like that Jane McMahon, whatever her name was, she had a relationship with Harvey afterwards. It's like what? How does that work?
Right.
Was it no consent? Maybe, I don't know. No one was there in the bedroom. But the fact that you stayed in a relationship with him afterwards, it's like, come on, like. So yeah, it's like if you slap someone in the street, that's assault. If you slap your husband, that's also technically assault. But women were like, well, he pissed me off.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, yeah, whatever. It's just part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't recommend slapping people. I'm just saying that the context's not there. This Me Too movement, it just doesn't have any context there at all. And it's just angry women who obviously have been hurt before by a man using Harvey Weinstein as this outlet for aggression. Meanwhile, the genuine rape victims out there, like these kids who are human trafficked in the US, in Australia, wherever, there's no voice for them. You know?
Right.
It's crazy. The voice for the Me Too movement is Rose McGowan, who was made famous and very, very rich because of Harvey's connection. And nothing really bad that even happened to her with Harvey. You know, it's like in context what's going on with these kids. And so it's just like, come on, you know, it's crazy.
Well, I think we've gone a long time, but there's one last thing I want to go into a little bit. You know, there was some sad news not that long ago. Dr. Robert Lockhart, who was an inspiration to me, a friend, I think a genuinely nice guy, and had some good information as well. Very committed to his health, and unfortunately passed away. Can you, from your perspective, what happened there?
That was I was the first person to put it on social media that Rob had unfortunately passed away, and people said, "Why'd you do that?" I want to do that to show the warnings of how dangerous dry fasting is. Dry fasting is extreme dehydration. I've got mutual friends of Rob, and from here in Australia, do an inside circle here. So it's like, you know, Rob had massive kidney damage from past dry fasting experience. He had scarring on his kidneys. Every time you dry fast, you damage your kidneys, you cause kidney damage, kidney disease. And so every dry fast builds on the other dry fast of scarring your kidneys. So your renal function goes down every time you dry fast, you get severely dehydrated. So Rob's kidneys were massively impaired from this belief that dry fasting is good. And I believe that Rob, from knowing him for the last 11 years in person, that he had a severe eating disorder and couldn't see, you know, basically he was going into the abyss of insanity. And I remember last time I saw him was in the Philippines, and he didn't really want to talk to me. He's like, "Hey, Harley," and he kept on moving. Because every time I met Rob, I'd always tell him my truth. I'd always say, "Dude, look after yourself, man. You're on the wrong path there." You know, I'm not afraid to tell someone I really feel, whether they like it or not, because I'm not here to make people feel good. I'm here to tell people what they need to hear. And that makes you feel good or not.
Yeah, I mean, I've got memories of being at Woodstock and Robert's giving a talk, and you're there, like, just you're like asking him questions, or you're having a conversation about like the best places to have fruit and stuff like that. So it's, you know, I can see that you guys went quite far back there and everything. And I mean, I never heard of dry fasting, I think, apart from you saying that you knew someone previously that died from dry fasting as well.
And water fasting, yeah.
Right.
It's my friend V, she was doing a water fast. I got an itchy nose because it's cat fur. But it gives you a vegan. My cat allergies got better though. But my friend V in 2009, me and Freddie were living with her as a share house she had, and she passed away she was doing water fast, and that turned into a dry fast, and then her kidney shut down. She ended up in a coma and passed away, unfortunately. So that's 2009. So 2009, I lost my dad. I lost friend V. So I became like using my platform as warnings, like don't do this. Water fasting, dry fasting. What are you doing? You know, and it went from there. So yeah, just basically Rob died. His heart failed because when your kidneys fail, your potassium sodium levels get out of whack, and then your heart can no longer contract, and then you pass away. So you basically have organ shutdown, and the kidneys are the priority for everything. And once the kidneys go, all the organs just start shutting down, just switch it off, bang, bang, bang.
Right.
So that's why I just tell people, drink water, drink enough water so you're peeing clear every 2 or 3 hours. And never ever skip water. And the fruitarians are like, oh, I get water from my food, from my fruit. And it's like, well, yeah, you're going to have issues with your teeth because your teeth have never got just clean water on them. They've always just got sugar on there, feeding bacteria, and there's nothing rinsing those teeth. So that's why a lot of fruitarians have dental issues real quick. One, because they get a very dry mouth. You know, I'm sipping water as we're talking here.
Yeah.
And because saliva protects teeth. And then two, if you've got sugar on your teeth or food on your teeth, whatever it is, it's still food for bacteria, which can cause the issues. So another thing with teeth is people can use betadine, iodine, which is called povidone iodine. You can put a bit of betadine on your teeth every month or so. Don't swallow it, spit it, but just put a bit of betadine on your teeth. That can really help your teeth, your dental health, by killing any bacteria that may be in your mouth that shouldn't really be there as much.
Sure.
So betadine, Google it up.
Well, that's great, man. You've given so much today in this interview. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sure there's more. Maybe we can have another conversation another time, some point in the future. I'd like to go into more stuff, but that's been really a whirlwind tour of your career, everything you've done, really, or not. That's not even a fraction, to be honest. Every time you say something, I think about something else, someone else you had some drama with or some issue with or whatever. But what do you see yourself doing next? What are you up to at the moment? What are your plans, dreams? And obviously, probably a lot of people know who you are, where you are, but how can people find out more about you if they want to, if they've never heard of you?
Just, you go on to just Google up Durianrider. Read some of the hate websites about me, read some of my websites about me. I mean, what I like about you, Ronnie, is you're quite honest and open as well. And you're a bit of a historian of the movement now because you've been around a while, and you watch with passionate eyes, and you genuinely want to help people as well. And so you're passionate about the topic. So you're seeing the eyes not from what can I get out of this. You're seeing the eyes of like, I really enjoy this information and this community and the vegan and the fruit and the Thailand, and you just enjoy nature and things like that. So I can see that you're passionate about this.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Yeah,
we need people like you out there.
Yeah, I mean, I love the raw food. And I do think the raw food movement's been full of a lot of craziness and weirdness, but it's also been full of a lot of amazing people and beautiful things and inspiration and like. Part of this podcast, I've wanted to try and connect with all these different characters. I'm trying to one by one, all these different people that have played a role, and it's just funny. It's funny to me. I feel kind of fortunate that I came across you, the Woodstock thing, Doug Graham. Like I came across the right information really quick, and I think a lot of people in raw food have come across. Like I'm the kind of person that if the first person I came across was a breatharian guy, I might have followed that for a while, I would have, because I was so open to trying anything out, really. But yeah, no, I've seen over the years because I was at the events, because I've seen some of that stuff, because I followed you from quite far back. I've seen how people have changed. I've seen how people supported you when it was cool for them to support you, and then pulled back when it wasn't. And I just don't like that. I just think that's something really ungenuine in certain people. And I'm not really the type to kind of go expose that or whatever. But people have tried to expose you and expose other people. And but I see in you someone like you've been doing this, as you're saying, before there was money involved, before there was any. Okay, yeah. So just yeah, thanks for joining, Harley. As you were kind of saying, yeah. I mean, I love the history of it. I don't know why, but I love the whole, and I love finding out. You know, when you were talking about being in California at David Wolf events, that kind of stuff is intriguing to me. I'm like, what were those events all about? And even David Wolf turned up at the Canada Fruit Fest last year. I don't know if you know, like me and Ted Carr worked on this Canada Fruit Fest event, and David Wolf randomly kind of showed up, and it was funny because there was all this amazing organic, you know, perfect fruit, and he was like, "I'll just have my cocoa beans or whatever." Like, get some like cacao nibs or something like that, you know. So it's just,
And then we're gonna have his cheese lasagna later on.
yeah. But I just like, I even respect the fact that he made his contribution, whatever, and probably did have an impact on a lot of people. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, obviously for people that want to find out more about you, check out Durianrider online. And any last pieces of advice, wisdom you've got to share for people?
Just understand human physiology. I was just on. We had a bit of a tech cutout then, and I checked my Instagram account, and someone messaged me, and I look at this. There's this ultra runner called Zach Bitter, and he's on the Joe Rogan podcast, and people put him up as the keto. He runs in ketosis. People say he does, but so Zach put up a post where he's drinking these sugar gels, and you know, there's people in the comments section going, "Oh yeah, since I added sugar to my diet, I can run better." And I'm just like, yeah, but people still use Zach Bitter as this example of a ketosis runner,
right,
when he's actually showing pictures and saying, "Hey guys, I do eat sugar." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would be like a vegan bodybuilder. People say, "Hey, look, he's a vegan bodybuilder," and he's like, "Well, I do eat meat. I'm eating big juicy steak." Like, imagine Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan would run with that. He'd be like, "Hey, look at this vegan bodybuilder eating steak."
Yeah.
Then Joe Rogan uses guys like Zach Bitter to push the low carb agenda when Zach is consuming refined sugar. So it's like, I know people that understand. My take-home message is to people: understand human physiology. You need carbs, and you can try and fight that and deny that, but Mother Nature will always win. And you'll destroy your fitness, you'll destroy your health and your mental sanity trying to restrict your carbs, be it your fruit or your rice or your sugar. And I tell people, yeah, have fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and have your rice meal if you want that. And if you can get enough calories from fruit, then do that. If you can't, put some sugar in there and get some rice in there. Don't feel guilty about that. Just always focus on performance and your energy of how can you help people around you. And when you are hungry, you get hangry eventually, and your mood drops and your function drops and your hormones start going down and all that. So
and that's,
just look up at people.
Yeah, but something I've got picked up from you as well is this idea of community, and I think that's something that can really inspire people. And community for me is something that is not just essential for spreading, you know, the information about the vegan movement or whatever, but it's essential for people's health to have supportive people around them, positive people around them. And as you're saying, in today's world, people are living more and more isolated a lot online, and all that kind of stuff. And I love the fact that you've always been about community, bringing people together, and I honestly think you've had a massive impact on the fact that right now there's so much vegan options now, so many plant-based. I really do think you did have I think you're right about that you did have an impact in with the fact that you took advantage of what YouTube was at that time. So thanks, Harley. We'd love to speak to you again in the future, and look forward to seeing what you're doing next. And everyone, just thank you for listening. Wherever you're listening or watching this, feel free to share it, post it. If you want to repost it, put it on your own channel, do what you like with it, and rate it, comment on it, and we'll see you in the next interview. If you want to learn more about the raw vegan side of things, the Fruit Festival stuff, then there's also the Fruit Festival in the UK Fruit Fest that we run, and you can learn more about that at fruitfest.co.uk. Thanks a lot, Harley, and we'll see you hopefully in another interview. And thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode of the Love Fruit podcast.
Sweet, man. Thank you.